Okay, now we're got.
Now
Okay.
we're cooking with oil, with something. What did you say the other day? Something like that. All right, so let's jump in. I've got a fun question for you. Um, what's the biggest snowstorm you remember?
Oh, I can tell you that for sure. 1967.
What happened?
We were living at 4903 St. Louis, and it was a huge storm. Anybody who worked downtown could not get home. They had to stay there. There was like an unwritten policy, probably a person's life would be endangered, on the public parking outside of a house. If somebody digged their car out, chas v'cholila, if somebody would take that place, they put out chairs. That was like their private spot. It was just crazy. I wanted to visit my parents. I'm in the house looking out the window at the storm. I says, well, I'm gonna go over and check on my folks over there. I go downstairs, there's a glass door to go out. Well, the glass door was completely with snow. So I went back in the house. That means if I'd open the door, I'd have to walk through for snow higher than my head. Yeah, it was really some storm. And we had
Wow.
another one in 79. And one of Shelley's, I drove her to the hospital. So I had to back up the street to get to
Wait,
her.
uh-huh.
She,
Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
she, yeah. I
In
remember. She
in
was going to
1967.
have the baby.
Mm,
In
wow.
1967,
In
that was when
1967,
I was expecting Miriam then.
mhm,
Yeah.
there were 23 inches of snow that fell in 29 hours. That's the largest snowfall from a single storm in Chicago history. Winds gusted over 50 miles per hour, creating drifts of 4 to 6 feet.
Yeah.
About 50,000 cars were abandoned on city streets and expressways.
Yeah.
Roughly 800 CTA buses were stranded,
Yeah.
and O'Hare Midway were both closed. School children spent the night in school in some
Yeah.
instances because buses
Yeah.
couldn't get through.
Yeah. They couldn't, anybody that was far from home,
26 people died.
uh,
Wow. So you remember that. You remember being
oh, sure.
wow. Wow. Wait.
The Aaronsons, Mike and Alice lived across the street, and I remember we built the snowman.
Wow. That
Yeah.
must have been really something else. I mean, snow drifts of 4 to 6 feet is no joke. Wow.
It was something. In 79, we had a big storm too. Killed my rose bush. Yeah.
In 1979,
Yeah.
the blizzard was very different. It was there was more snow in 67, but 79 was more disruptive because by the time that the storm came in 79, the city was already
Oh,
under
they
snow.
lost the mayor, Balandic or something. He wasn't equipped with the city to be on alert. Maybe that's why it was
Well,
disrupted.
there
They
were
got
all
rid
by
of
the
that
time
mayor.
that storm hit, there were like 7 to 10 inches already on the ground, and another 20 inches came over the next 38 hours.
Oh, uh-huh.
So
Yeah,
the
it
snow
was a bit,
depth was 30 inches across the city.
yeah. I
Um,
remember in the parking lot, there was still snow in June. You know, they made a
Oh
big
my God.
mountain.
No.
Yeah, yeah. No kidding. Yeah, Dominic's parking lot, there was still snow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Um, that's amazing. Now, it's still a Chicago minhag to own that parking spot outside of your home if you dig it out. And it's not
Well,
just
I'll
chairs.
tell
People put all
you,
kinds of furniture out.
I think they maybe they would tow you away. You know, they don't want to lose that it's a public street, you
Oh,
know.
you're talking
I
about
don't
in
know.
public.
Yes, yes, the street is a public
Oh, I was
street.
thinking just like in because people still put outside their private homes, which is still a public street. Technically you don't
Yeah,
own
yeah,
that space.
it was a public street. So who can reserve a parking? But they did it because they worked. Nobody. It was high. It was difficult to even get in your own spot. But oh wow,
So
that
in
was.
1979, what happened again? What you took
Oh, so
your
Shelley had to go to deliver a baby. I was in college, I think. I left the college and for some reason I had to back down, maybe because I wouldn't want to back up going out of it wasn't a through street. I had to get back onto Devon Avenue. So I went down Francisco and I backed up. She got in the car and everything was okay. I dropped her at the hospital there. Yeah.
um
I remember backing up and I
wait, so
remember.
how is it that you had that distinct that distinction of taking her and not her
Well,
husband?
I guess Shlomo was at the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
far away,
Mm-hmm.
and she called me, and I wasn't too far away.
Where was she living?
Or maybe I was working. I had a job, for like 10 hours a week or something. I didn't have to. It was it. I could go and come, whatever. I guess. I don't know. I left to pick her up, or I was in
Mm-hmm.
college, one or the other.
That's amazing. Wow. That is definitely an eventful
Oh yeah,
snowstorm.
yeah.
Um, so was there ever a neighborhood event that everyone talked about? There's something that happened in the neighborhood, you know, I mean, like one thing that I don't want to plant ideas, but there are certain things that you were mentioning while we were driving around and like the fires and the stuff like that. But even before that, are there any stories of things that happened back in the old neighborhood that were memorable?
Let me see. So 1 second. I just want to see who was ringing the phone there. The phone's not where it should be. Never mind. I'll have to see it later. Oh, say it again. Something that memorable. You're
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Anything that people talked about, that was like really just a memorable event in the neighborhood.
I can't recall anything now. I'm sure there must
So
have
tell
been.
me about the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
riot.
The guy who killed the 8 nurses. Yeah, that was
Hmm.
big news. Somebody got in, and one nurse hid under the bed. He took one nurse at a time and killed them with a knife. And this last nurse went under the bed, so he thought that the one before was the last one. He killed about 7 or 8 nurses.
Yeah. That was
Terrible.
yeah, Richard Speck, July
Yeah,
13th and
yeah, they
14th,
killed him in
1966.
prison. They killed him in prison, this guy. I think. You know, which he deserved, I guess.
Mhm. That was 1 year before the blizzards of 67.
Uh-huh. Oh, it was a terrible news, terrible news. And then was that in Chicago, this
Yeah.
Berkowitz guy,
Oh, I don't
uh,
know.
Son of Sam.
Um,
He was called Son of Sam. He did some killings.
yep. Son of Sam was, yeah, David Berkowitz, but that was like New
He
York.
was not a Jewish boy. He was he was raised in a Jewish family, was an adopted child.
Mhm. Uh, um,
The genes of
what
his.
about other major events that you remember, not just the neighborhood, but just worldwide events like JFK's assassination?
Well, I was already married in New York. It was on a Friday. Your father-in-law worked the night, and on Friday he was resting, and he's listening to the radio or whatever. And oh wow, we were having company that night when we lived on 250 Crown Street. Oh wow, that news was really something. And in Shul, see, that was Erev Shabbos. In Shul the next day, the Chazan he had like a Misha Beirach for Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was then the president, because
Mhm.
he was shot. So I remember him saying that name in the shul, when you have the prayer for the government and things like that. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Hmm.
Lyndon Baines Johnson, they said, oh, wow.
And what about Martin Luther King or the moon landing, like 1968, 1969?
All we knew was that Jesse Jackson, may he get the reward that he's due over there. He died already. He was in the audience there where that Martin Luther King, so we ran up to like kneel next to him. He wanted to have some honor. So he's a young guy and he made it like he's a pal of uh, a rotten person.
Yeah.
But otherwise we weren't too affected with it.
What about the moon landing?
The what?
The moon landing.
That was more in my father's time.
That was 1969.
Bootlegging.
No, no, the moon landing.
Oh, the moon landing. I thought you. Yeah, you see, I'm a Chicago girl.
That is
Not
really
being
funny.
able to hear is a wonderful thing. It gives a good laugh. Anyway, so the moon landing. Well, I wouldn't be talking about it, but it was something.
Hmm.
Um, one of the elderly women here who I have a tape. She talked about the man who landed on the moon. What was his name? Who stood? Yeah, Bubby got his autograph.
Neil Armstrong?
Well, what is the name? The
Neil
guy on
Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong. Yeah,
Yeah. But 19 minutes
he,
later,
he's
was Buzz Aldrin.
I remember that name. And I felt sorry. Some men died. Gus Grissom, they called him. He died. There was a fire in the capsule. I don't know if they were going to take off or they were just in there practicing. and they died. A few men, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
Yeah.
so this what's his name? Neil Armstrong.
Hmm.
Um, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. That's
Yeah.
that's what he said. Okay.
Yeah.
So Mrs. Oster, and I have the tape actually, the MP3. She gave a class to us, and she's talking. She was a Holocaust survivor as a young person, so she was elderly when she spoke to us. But she was married to a judge, a very interesting person, and she lived not far from where I live.
Hmm.
Anyway, so she spoke to we ladies. We had a like a shear, and she spoke. So she talked about this Neil Armstrong. She says afterward he went into politics. And she said he, like all goyim, she said, he said anti-Semitic remark in order to be. This is what she said. I don't know anything about it, but
Hmm.
so she says what happened to him. He was in the bathtub and he slipped and he was ice mensch for a long time. She says he never had much of a future after that. She said that Hashem gave him. He said, oh, in the moon he could walk, and everything was beautiful up there. A ticker tape parade, the way she said.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, he got
Wow.
his
Wow.
and he lived. She
Um,
said he lived a long life, but he didn't have. Although they do say he married and had, uh, but sometimes they make fake news, you know.
hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Okay. So, uh,
yeah,
eh, the first of all, do you remember the first time you went downtown? Do you have any recollection? I mean, maybe you mentioned when you were 10 years old, you went on the bus by yourself. But do you remember the experience of going downtown?
um, well, I felt pretty grown up. I was only 10. I
Hmm.
don't know where I went. Sometimes I just would go and come back, you know, look around. I guess I don't remember exactly.
Okay, so if all right, now those were all like warm-ups, okay? That was the warm-up questions. So the let's jump into actually no, before we do that, let me think. No, this is good. So if you
Go
could if,
right to the cut to the chase
okay,
or
if
whatever.
you could go back in time to your childhood, to the childhood neighborhood, to the West Side, and spend one more day there, what would you do?
Well, I thought about that. I would like to go back only knowing that I could jump right back to here. I wouldn't want to grow up again
Okay.
to do everything over. That first of all, I have to tell you the way I feel. I don't know how I felt then, but you know, they were killing the Jews in Europe when I was a little girl. And the people in America, they didn't say anything, but news came. So I felt that I grew up in a sad time. That's how I feel. I don't know
Mhm.
why I didn't know anything, but somehow a child can feel something. So
Mhm.
I felt when I think of those days and as an adult that I know what was happening, I'm sad from that
Wow. Wow.
childhood. It was a
I mean,
very
I mean, the war ended th when you were 3 years old. I mean, the war in Europe.
but people lost families. You know,
But
my
I'm saying like,
Zadie with the Yenta, you know, and it affects them. You don't, when the war was over in 45, I think.
yeah,
But, you know, people start, that's how I feel,
I mean, it
that
was
there was
literally
a,
almost to the day three. You were almost to the day 3 years old when they, Victory Europe Day, whatever. I think that was like
yeah.
March or May or something like that.
Jewish people didn't feel much victory, you know.
Uh,
They knew something. My father said
but this
somebody
is years.
said,
But you didn't realize
my
that that was happening for
father,
years later.
my
You were three
father
years old.
said when my father was in the army, he said that somebody that escaped in Europe over there, he came to say what's happening, and
Correct.
nobody believed him.
Yeah, it took like 6 months before 4 months or something before the
So you have
after
to
he met with the
know
Mhm.
that children, let's say my father's telling this to my mother or whatever, you know, Rabbi Miller said something very interesting. Um, Parents, they're talking about money at the table. They're worried about having enough money. And the little toddler is under the table. And while they're worrying, he said, and he's worried. The baby's worried.
Mhm.
That's how it is. It gets Rabbi Miller said that. He says
Sure.
they think the kid's not, he's playing under there or whatever. No, and he's worried. He has a whole thing about bringing up children. He said if the mother says it's raining out, we can't go out. We can't, or it's windy, something. He says when that little boy's 65 years old, he won't on a windy day. He won't want to. He
Here, I
want,
want to share. I want to
you
share
know.
something with you because you're talking about, Rabbi Victor
So I'm
Miller.
saying I'm
But I
connecting
still want to
things.
share this. You'll like this. Take a look at
I'm
this.
I'm.
All right,
Oh, let's see.
you ready for this? Um,
Yeah,
I one time was sitting with Aunt Sally, and she told me that when she was younger, Zadie Shalias was starting to do quite well, and she told him, "Bizeh haloshen, Daddy, we don't have a bank account. As aviator in America, doch a bank account. We should have a bank account just like everyone else. And America has a bank account." She told me my Zadie started crying. My older Zadie Shalinsky started crying. Jeden gehen hungrig in Europa. Wir soll haben a bank account. Jews are going hungry in Europe. We should have a bank account.
uh, hmm. That's Sandy, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You know, he's older, so
that's an amazing clip, right? That's an amazing. That's
yeah, it sure tied in, didn't it?
yeah.
It sure
Um,
tied in.
so what
Yeah,
about going back to your childhood in terms of
yeah,
just what things that you experienced, when you were, um, you know, I mean, you're not going to go back and change the Holocaust when you're three, but if you're 5 years old, you can go get a piece of chocolate Hershey's from your father when he comes back from the
yeah,
train. I mean,
that's right. Yeah.
what would
There's
what would
mixed memories. You know, the cute little things that happen. You have that. I remember on Shabbos, I was kind of skinny. And my mother wanted to give me something to eat on Shabbos afternoon. I was a little girl, of course, and she gave me an egg yolk, but it was raw. So she's feeding this to me, and I'm thinking to myself, this isn't so good, you know. I knew something there isn't right, but she wanted to give me something nourishing, and she
oh
couldn't
wow,
cook it. Yeah, it's a memory for sure.
wow,
A
okay,
child knows that it's
yeah,
not.
sure. Um, so besides your parents, who are among or who was um one of the
B'nai
most
Akiva, B'nai
who,
Akiva.
who were the influential people in your childhood?
Yeah, I think B'nai Akiva. You
But
know, like
anyone
when I was
Mhm.
the Mike Futsa, and we did, it was wonderful. And very much with Kiruv too. Without, I brought in some friends, and my friend kids me that her mother was, I'll show them, her mother used to blame me that she lives in Israel today, because I brought her to B'nai Kiva. She kids me. And, a few like, oh, we had a wonderful time. There was such, yeah, it was co-ed. So we gained a lot from the, Madrich. Ah, it was so good, the Madrich. And then
Okay, so when did you join B'nai Akiva?
what did I enjoy about it?
When did you join? When did you start going?
Let's say, well, I went to Camp Mosheva when I was 9. And I went to a different camp that I couldn't go to Moshe till I'm 9 years old. So I went 8 years old. My mother sent me to Camp Adas. Yeah. So at 9, yeah, I was in a tent in Rolling Prairie, Indiana. Yeah.
Where was it?
They had tents, Rolling Prairie, Indiana, which be by the sand dunes. It was really nice. But they put a highway in, so we had to move to Wild Rose, Wisconsin, where it remains today. But it was great. It was wonderful.
Hmm. Do you remember who the Madrichim were?
Uh, yes, there was, even in the city, I remember somebody, I had a crush on him. I think he's not living. I don't remember. Zvi Klayman. I think it was from St. Louis.
Hmm.
And, he told stories about he told a famous story about a woman, they were going to drag her through the street tie her to a horse, and she asked for a pin to pin her skirt, for sneeze reasons. They're going to kill her by dragging her. There were like 3 stories like that where people did. Oh, I was captivated, just listening
Yeah.
to these things. Maybe it was like, could have been on like Shabbos afternoon,
Hmm.
maybe by Shalashudis. We had we went to different people's homes, our futsa, that was just girls. The boys had their own futsot. And yeah, and we went. My friend, she goes by Diana, it's Gordon now, was Glaperson. She had polio. So I remember that her father carried her across uh, to go to somebody's house for Shalashudas. And at her house, when she had Shalashudas, there, it was fancier. Her parents made it nice, something maybe flashing,
When
cold
she
country.
hosted, when Diana hosted?
Yeah, yes,
Hmm.
when she had it. And Zadie always put out, he used to shape when I had it, we had salmon salad and tuna salad. So he made sure that it looked nice. Mommy made it, but he dialed it up a little.
Um, so what did a typical I guess what would you call a meeting? The your kfutza, like what were the meetings called?
Well, we had the name of our group was Kohava, I believe.
Chavai?
Each kfutza had they went by a name.
And yours was Chavai?
No, like a star, Kohava.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, and I forgot how many girls. Cookie was in. I don't know, whatever. But we had a good time. We had a madricha. Um, several with I don't remember everybody from I a few I remember, and yeah, it was
What
nice.
but what would you do? What were the meetings like? How often would you get together?
Well, every Shabbos,
Hmm.
and then most of us went to camp together. So but we met in camp. We had different. We met girls from different cities, so it was very nice. Yeah.
Are there any songs that you remember?
I can't think of anything really that stands out now. I mean, there
Hmm.
were little girl songs.
I mean,
It,
did you do a tikva?
in the academy, we started every assembly with Star Spangled Banner, and we ended with Hatikva, every assembly. And I guess in B'nai Kiva we also sang Hatikva, and yeah, sure we did.
Um, were there regional conventions also, like Shabbatonim?
I do remember something. We went on the south side, and I don't remember exactly what it was. It was a Shabbaton. We didn't do that on a regular basis. We went and we stayed. The people weren't home, and a few of us were put up at this lady, and we slept in a bedroom upstairs. But we weren't very nice because we went down to the basement to which we don't have. We only were supposed to sleep there, not go to other rooms in our house. It was more of a fancy people, and we went in the basement. We were playing around there, but I'm sure when they came home, they could see things were moved, and so I regret
Well,
that.
I'll tell you, you can sleep well tonight knowing that when they opened their house to a group of teenagers, they did it knowing that they wanted you to enjoy yourself and have a great Shabbos, and they probably put those things back besimcha, knowing that you were enjoying each other's company and growing and being inspired over Shabbos. They were happy for you to be staying there. Otherwise, if they were people that were concerned about things being moved, they wouldn't have opened their house when they weren't home. They were happy
Sounds
with that.
like NCSY
Yeah.
regional
When
leader
people
or what?
don't want things moved in their house, they don't open their home to teenagers when they're not home. When there are people that are comfortable with things being moved around and they wanted you to feel at home and they were happy not to get in your way. That's all. They looked at it as their house was a mitzvah. Their house was an opportunity for them to help you keep Shabbos and be
Oh,
inspired.
I like that. I think I'm going to invite company this.
So you were saying that there was this girl that this friend of yours that made Aliyah. Who was that? That was Diane.
Janet, maybe it was Janice who said that. It
Uh-huh.
could have been a lot of people.
So did a lot of your friends make Aliyah?
Well, we were a Zionistic, Chicago was Zionistic. Half of the graduating class moved to Eretz Israel. Yeah, many of them just married fellow students in their, you know, yeah, my friends, well, not Cookie. Cookie married a Sephardi man, Atias. They have
Mhm.
a son that's so fair.
So
Very nice.
can I take a step back here? Um, you lived around the corner from Theodore Herzl High School. You went to B'nai Kiva. I think that Zionism has a very different meaning today than it did just years after the formation of the state in 1948. And in
Yeah, but Ben
1963,
Gurion came to Chicago. Yes, I remember. And then they sold a lot of Israel bonds then. And Rabbi Kitov, Eliyahu Kitov, the author of Book of Our Heritage,
yeah,
for Todah, he he wrote he has something about Yom Ha'atzmaut, and he said he doesn't know. He says we're looking to see. We hope that it'll be a good. He had hopes that this would be a very good thing. That
mhm, mhm.
when we captured the
That it'd
60
be
days
part of the
after
Geula.
67 war, yeah, that
What
the
he's talking about
government
67?
would be good. Uh, I'm so sorry what's happening now. They have to turn the clock back and start over. It's
Yeah.
really
So again, so tell me again, what did it mean as a teenager at that time, living in Chicago, going to what did Zionism mean to you?
well. It didn't mean anything else, but you felt that everybody felt the same way you did. There was no, there wasn't any. We were the most religious in Chicago. You have to understand. There was nobody that was more from than the B'nai Ki. So we didn't talk about Zion. We didn't say Zionist or
Okay, so
anything. It
what
was
about
just
Israel? Forget Zionism. Israel. Let's just use the word Israel. What did Israel
right,
mean?
right.
Yeah.
Everybody was very pro-Israel. It was a wonderful thing because in my lifetime, when President Truman, I was a little girl, of course, I didn't know, when he recognized the Jewish people, you can imagine, were so happy.
Yeah.
So, I went downtown. We used to collect money I told you, standing on State Street with a pushka saying to passersby, would you give to B'nai Kiva, please? And, people would drop coins in. So it's a different world today.
Yeah. Yeah, for
The
sure.
free,
I
free
mean, but I
Palestine.
mean, you were 6 years old when Truman recognized Israel.
Yeah, yeah, it was a big deal.
I mean, do you remember that?
Well, it's hard to say. Since I knew about it in later years, I can't
Right. But
remember
you
what,
right.
there's talk around, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Um we so you'd collect money for so it wasn't like you're collecting money specifically for Israel, you were collecting money for B'nai Kiva.
Yes, yes, but it would have been the same thing. People weren't against Israel then. I mean,
Right.
it was just, I guess there's anti-Semites against
Yeah.
Jews, but
But I mean, at what point, I mean, as a child, did you have, or as a teen, did you have aspirations for making Aliyah?
I didn't think about it. And I was a homebody. Yeah, and Shelley went for a year after high school, which a lot of people did, to go to on Hachshara. That was on a kibbutz, a religious kibbutz, a B'nai Kiva kibbutz, Hapo Mizrahi, and
Mhm.
kibbutz Yavna she was on, but I didn't go. I liked being home.
Yeah. Okay, so so you went to Mosheva.
Hmm.
That was a me. How many summers did you go to Mosheva?
I think I went six.
Wow.
But there was a gap. 2 years I didn't go. 50. I was going to go and I changed my mind at the last time. Instead of getting on the bus, I walked to the store with my big army, whatever you call that
A
bag. Yeah,
duffel bag?
duffel bag. Yeah, I walked. I says I don't feel like going to camp. My mother said, "Okay."
But you went to
So
the store, you said?
so 2 years I didn't go, and then I
Mhm.
went back in '58. Yeah. So I went. I was away 7 years because I went to the other camp when I was 8.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, and so what was your favorite activity?
Swimming
Hmm. In the lake?
in a pool.
Mhm. Well, at camp, they had a pool at the camp. They didn't go swimming in the
Oh,
lake.
in the lake? Yeah, we did go swimming in the lake, I guess. But I'm thinking of, when we're in the city. In the
Mhm.
camp, yeah, they took us swimming. It was lovely. Took us to, yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah. Um, do you remember any pranks
And
that
boats, rowing boats,
Mhm.
rowboats.
And what about the pranks? What was a good prank that
How
you guys
did you read my mind? I was just going to tell you just now. I was going to say the boys raided the girls. They were allowed to one time to raid the girls' cabins. They were on the other side, the boys, and they came and I don't know, disrupted things and you asked me, how did you read my mind? I was going to just tell you that.
that must have been an exciting night.
I just know that look at how innocent everything was then. It was something else. We were
Um,
allowed to go on a Shabbos walk with a boy. Can you imagine? Next to the water was really nice. I think it was next to the water. Maybe there was a man-made lake over there in Wild
who did
Rose.
you go on Shabbos walks with?
I remember going with a boy to it, but I don't remember his name. Yeah, they allowed that
Yeah.
on Shabbos.
Okay, so back to all right, so back to the city. Um, when in high school, what time did you have to get up for school?
It was a long day
Hmm.
because the school was, after we moved north, it took an hour to get to school because the school was still on the west side on Wilcox and Pulaski. So I get and school started about either 8:30 or 9, depending. Sometimes the boys davened in the school, the girls did not. They had a shul like it was a Masonic temple before it was so they had a third floor and that was the shul. And the boys were required to go to davening in the morning. And the girls went maybe on Rosh Chodesh. They went, I don't know if it was optional, it could have been optional. and they served us breakfast, I think. We had hot lunches in the school, which was very nice. So we got out at 5:30 in the afternoon. So it was a long day, and then it takes an hour to get home. And in the winter, yeah,
In the
was
winter is
really
already dark. In the winter, you left in the dark and you came back in the dark.
yeah, was it dark in the morning? No, I don't think so. But it was darkish because in the winter it's gray, And we, for a time, the CTA, the Transit Authority, along when a bus didn't turn, when it was a straight road, they had instead of gasoline, they had an electric. They had
The overhead,
the a
overhead wires.
pole on top of the bus that ran along a line. So it was electric, but sometimes the pole would go off and the guy had to get out of the bus and put the pole back on the.
So that was like a trackless trolley, like a trolley bus.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a regular bus, but I don't
But
know.
it's
In
still
order to,
no, but it was powered by electricity from overhead wires that the
yes,
pole
yes,
on was mounted on the roof.
yeah, yeah, something like that. When I was a little, but a trolley went on tracks.
Yeah,
This
this was a trackless trolley essentially. It was a
it
bus.
was, yeah, like a regular bus,
But
but it
sometimes
had
the
big
wires would come
poles.
off the pole and that was called being dewired. And so
Uh-huh.
the driver had to stop
I
and
don't know if
reconnect
you
them.
could see a picture of it. Maybe they have. I don't know.
Yeah.
That didn't stay around for very long. It wasn't a very great idea. It was like I guess, an experiment. Maybe on Pulaski they had. Oh, is that it? Yeah. So it's like a regular bus, but it was.
Yeah.
I don't remember two poles. That's interesting. I only remember one.
Well, they might have had, here's another picture. This has
Uh-huh.
one.
And the guy had to put it on when it fell off, and yeah. Very interesting. You can see everything. I don't
Yeah.
know what this is.
I don't know what that is either. Um, but
Look at how you can get any piece of information you want. It's marvelous, simply marvelous.
um,
Um, if you come to Eretz Israel, where oh, it'd be wonderful if you could work for Nefesh B'Nefesh.
yeah, I have a lot of friends that work there.
Oh, you'd be so good. My goodness, helping out. Wow.
Um,
Did you send your resume there? I think.
Nefesh, I really have. I mean, I have at least three people that used to work for me that now work at Nefesh B'Nefesh.
Oh,
Okay,
that'd be
but
great.
wait, so all right, so back to school. So you had breakfast on Rosh Chodesh. What was breakfast?
Yeah, I'm not satisfied only seeing you on the screen, as you could tell. It's a
What
real
would
nice
they
country here.
what would they serve for the special Rosh Chodesh breakfast?
Yeah, I remember having a sweet roll, and it was just like a Danish. We didn't call it
Uh-huh.
Danish. A sweet roll and a drink, I guess. That was the Rosh Chodesh breakfast. But they had very nice lunches in the school. Very nice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you didn't have a lot of chores around the house in general. Were there any chores at all that you remember that you had to do or didn't enjoy doing?
Did I ever vacuum the rug? It could be I did. I remember the vacuum cleaner. My father liked that job, vacuuming the rug, but I didn't do the laundry. I'm sorry about it that my mother didn't. It was hard. She put a lot of time into that because she had other things that she did. So she would say, I remember she would say, I can't, I washed clothes today. That would,
Mm.
she was tired, but she was a very good mother in the way she wanted us to look nice, and and she cared for us. I felt love, from my parents, which which was a very good, to this day, it's, yeah, that's, cared for that way. Oh,
Uh,
what do you have there? I want some.
this
What do
is
you,
a
what,
protein bar, a chocolate chip cookie dough
mm,
protein bar.
a
Um,
protein. You
yeah.
need it in order to interview me. You need all the protein you can get.
Um, what were ways that you felt love from your parents? Were there specific times that you really felt that there was something that was like a labor of love, like what you're talking about, washing clothes, etc.? What were times that you really
Um,
felt that warmth?
well, um, there were three children, and I think we didn't feel that anybody was more preferred than the other. We all felt pretty much um, that we were the apple of the parents' eye. That I would say. My father, he didn't have a mother uh, at 13, so um, his wife played a lot of different roles in his life. He would say "Mama." I think that he didn't call her by her first name.
Hmm.
It was, yeah.
You can call
Okay.
your mother by her first name.
Pardon?
He didn't call your mother by her first name.
Right.
Hmm.
My mother, he would say "Mama" or something like that. I
Hmm.
forgot exactly. She
Yeah.
called him honey, or by his first name. Um, you know,
So she would call him. So she would call him Maury, like the short, right?
yeah,
Maury.
yes, that's what, yeah, yeah, or honey,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. No red, huh? He didn't get red from her.
No, no, yeah, yeah.
Did you get an allowance?
We had the nicest situation. It, what a way to bring up children. I told you about the picnic jug.
Maybe I don't remember.
Yeah, we had this big thing with the handles that you take on a picnic or
A basket?
something. Yeah, it's a basket, but it's
Like a wicker basket?
not wicker, like a metal, a tin or whatever. It had a picture on the side, like it was be a basket, something like that, hanging in the pantry. Let's say on 49, 43, or no, I don't know, maybe it was earlier. I forgot where everything was. Anyway, and there was money in there. And if we needed something, we took what we needed.
Wow.
No allowance, no, nothing like allowance, nothing like that. So money was not, later in later years, my mother told me she never wanted to be poor. And I figured out because we had relatives didn't have, like an aunt or something on my father's side, and I think they gave give a little money. She never wanted to ever receive money from anybody. She wanted to be, so she did some things, and then she helped my father in the store as well. But she
Yeah.
did some
Mhm.
other things, and but I no allowance, no allowance, and nobody ever took any more than That's where they put their money in case of robbery, not to look into the picnic jug, So it was safe. They took the money from the store and they put it in there. Well, and
So
I'm
how do
sure
you
the bank,
so
too.
at the time, how would you have described your financial state of your family? Right? Would
Comfort.
you
Nobody ever worried about anything. I never knew where we stood on we weren't, I didn't feel we were rich and I didn't feel we were poor. Just we had what we needed and for me, it was a very good upbringing. Very, very good upbringing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because I never, to this day, I don't make a big deal about money.
And what do
Yeah.
you attribute that to exactly?
Yeah, that's what I attributed to what
I
it
mean,
wasn't a
I,
big subject. It
oh,
wasn't a big subject. There was
mhm.
never, we don't have money for this and we don't have money for that. But we also didn't shop in the regular shops. My mother went to the Slendermans that I was talking about
Mhm.
yesterday, and we were happy, whatever it was. Nobody was dissatisfied that I know about, Baruch
Mhm.
Hashem. And in later years, when I wasn't with your father-in-law, I I didn't have much in the way of money, maybe none, but I got along fine. I was resourceful and
Um, for the entire time that you were married, um, to
a very good situation, well, financially.
so I thought you said when you
That's
first got
after
married.
I was when I was divorced. But married, my your father-in-law was a bagel baker, and he had a lot of money saved up when we got married. How was a 23 and a half year old or gonna have a big bank account? And he did.
You
Yeah.
were 23? How old were both of you?
No, your father-in-law
Yeah.
was 3.5 years, so I guess he was 24 maybe. I got married, I was just about 21, the usual.
Yeah.
And Baruch Hashem, so we didn't have it was a very well paying, the bagel baker, they had a union, a strong union, and they made a lot of money. And the only bakers that were in Europe, bakers, that they didn't let anybody else in.
Hmm. Wait, they didn't let anybody else in? What does that mean?
Anybody outside that didn't have a baker background, a bakery.
A yichus in baking?
Hmm?
A yichus in baking.
Yeah, right. They needed, and most were Jewish, it was local 338, the bagel bakers. And they had, when they had elections in this union, they even had it in Yiddish. Part. They had some Italian people there too. I mean, it was in English also, but they also had it in Yiddish for those. You said no, not from people. Only uh, my father-in-law and husband. It was interesting.
So what did you spend your money on?
Oh, we didn't spend a lot of money, especially, but we bought furniture.
No, I'm saying, I'm sorry, going back to, when you'd go and you need to get some money out of the basket.
Yeah,
What
I
was,
did take $1 or something, and if we need, so it was very interesting.
yeah.
Now that I think about it, um,
I mean, did you ever go to the store with that money? Get candy, ice cream,
no,
restaurant?
no, not really. Yeah, you need s- transportation wasn't free, it was, and I mean, nobody ate out or anything.
What was your favorite candy?
The Mars bar, it was in like Three Musketeers. It was
Are
like
those
a
two different, are
three,
those two different bars or that's the same thing?
wait, yeah, no. The Three Musketeers, it was made by the Mars Company.
Hmm.
So I remember buying some candy at the theater, at the movies. I like Milk Duds. And I liked the popcorn. I liked some kind of a mint. I forgot the name of it. Maybe you can fill me in.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Um, what was that mint?
I'll tell you in a second. It was um Junior Mints.
What was the name?
Junior Mints.
Yeah, Junior Mints. Did you also enjoy those? They were good.
Um, I didn't dislike them, but it wasn't my
Remember
candy of choice.
Junior Mints. Very good. Yeah, we can
Um,
go on about candies. Yeah, Holloway Bar, and yeah, Holloway Sucker. It's an all time. It's like a long thing on a stick.
mhm.
It has a different name now, but it was called a Holloway Bar.
Um, uh,
Holloway Sucker. Yeah,
it was on a stick.
I think so.
Hmm.
Because
Um,
you wouldn't hold it; it's sticky. It looked like yeah, I don't know, hard to
um,
say.
um,
Like
oh, a slow poke.
yeah, but it didn't have that name, Slowpoke. There was a name after. They didn't. We didn't have Slowpoke. It was
They
Holloway.
an all day sucker.
Yeah,
That was their
very
slogan.
good,
An all day
very
sucker.
tasty. Yeah, but and
Um,
those, yeah, Mrs. Klein's potato chip. That went out of business, I guess, or else took another.
mhm. Um, what about ice cream?
Well, the place across the street. Ice cream, we had the Good Humor, a very good bar. And at the corner, that corner that I was telling you about, oh, a delicious cone. I was very young then, but I enjoyed that ice cream.
But wait, what was that? Tell me about the place on the corner.
That was called, yesterday I couldn't think of it, but now it's sort of on the tip of my tongue.
What was it on the corner of?
It was by the tracks.
On Independence.
So I don't know. So let's say could it have been Lawndale? Was it that corner? What could I tell you? I don't know. But it was like it it had this beveled glass that turned around. I don't know, it was on a, and with the apothecary jars and a
Oh, wow.
lazy dog outside.
Uh,
I can think of the name. Let's see. I always used to say the name.
so it wasn't like a drugstore soda fountain.
Yeah, there was a soda fountain there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like kind of like also like a confectionery, maybe like Brock's or something. Um,
I don't remember candy. I just remember that never bought candy there I did I can think of. I don't know. Bookstore. I used to,
I mean, there were drugstores. I mean, like I don't know if they had soda
they had
fountains like
drugs. Yeah.
Hostel's drugstore, Walgreens, Rexall.
Well, it wasn't it was mainly for a pharmacy, but they did have that.
Was it Hostel's?
No,
And it wasn't Walgreens and it wasn't Rexall. Rexall.
no, it wasn't a bit. It was more of a private owned, not one of those.
Um, yeah, I mean, I just
Unless I told you the name,
it would
you
be
would.
like, I don't know, Tasty Freeze or Frosty or one of those
No,
like
no, because it wasn't for it was like a private name,
uh-huh. Oh, I
somebody's
see.
drugstore, and it wasn't no it was noted for being a pharmacy if you needed prescription. So
Got it.
yeah,
Um, so what would you get there?
something with an H. Maybe that Holloway is something similar to that. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
Um,
love to know.
what would you get there?
Pardon?
What would you get there?
Just ice cream.
What kind?
I think they only had vanilla as far as I know. A cone, a vanilla cone. I don't know why I remember it, and I'm not sure. It's funny, I can't remember. I won't tell you about the time I stole a quarter from my mother's purse.
It
These
sounds like you
are
guys had an
these are
open.
the days way before when I'm talking about the where you take the money from the basket.
Mhm.
I wanted um, something at I remember a nice little store. Maybe they had um, a popsicle, and I didn't have money. I guess I was about 4 or 5. And I went to my mother's purse and I took a quarter, and Hashem decided to punish me right there and then. So I'm walking, I fell down and I ended up with a bleeding elbow or something. I went to that store anyway, and maybe she put a bandage on it or something.
Wow.
And I got what I wanted. I did get it, but uh, you know,
What about soda? Did you have any favorite flavors or brands of soda?
um, there was a company, Old Colony, so we would get some, I don't know, root beer or something. We got something for Shabbos. During the week, I don't remember drinking soda. It was delivered by Milton Dershowitz. He passed away a couple of years ago. He never married. He didn't marry. He was Mr. Ohio. He had
He
real
was what?
strong Mr. Ohio. You know, a muscle. When he was a young guy, he
Wow.
so he could carry those pop cartons around, wooden boxes or whatever they were.
Now, were there any kosher restaurants?
There was in my mother's time, oh yeah, downtown, but when I was working, I had a job after high school, after I finished school, and I would have gone to college. I went for a summer job, but I liked it, so I kept it, and I went in later years to college. So, what did you just ask me?
If you, well, first of all, where was that job?
Downtown. I worked for a
What was the
lawyer.
job?
I got the job. I was a receptionist and his secretary. And I got the job through the Jewish Vocational Service.
You said this was a legal office, a lawyer's office?
Yes, yeah, lawyers, a lawyer. So I kept the job. I enjoyed the reception, and I was a mediocre secretary. I had many, you had if you made a mistake, you had to put everything was in 3 copies, and no. But I kept the job till I got married.
Um, and so you're saying that there's a kosher restaurant?
So you're right, there was a Siegel's kosher restaurant. It was downtown. And they had a 99-cent special. I used to have lunch there. Very tasty.
What could you get for 99 cents?
They had, in fact, I tried to call Beth Bed and Beyond was the son. I found out, and I wanted how a recipe, but he didn't have any. He didn't remember any recipes. The son,
What would you get
how
there?
they made their meat fritters or meat something. It was delicious. So they had 2 of those, and I don't know what if there were any side dish, but it was made a very nice lunch. And a different on different days they had a different special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and so tell me about your mother's cooking.
About what?
Your mother's cooking.
Um, She was a big Fleischig fan, um, not Potchking, but good food, meat and potatoes. In those days, there were a lot of meat was very plentiful. And chicken, we had both on Shabbos, meat and chicken every week. And soup with feet in it, the fisalach. I don't know if every week. And yeah, it was nice.
Was there something special that she made that you particularly enjoyed? Any desserts?
Yeah, no, nothing good. In fact, I enjoyed milchiks more than fleischiks. So sometimes I'd make an egg for myself while somebody else had. She didn't make if I wanted something else, I just made it for myself.
Mm. How would you make your eggs?
Maybe easy over.
And so, I mean, is there like a food from your childhood that you miss?
No, I can have pretty much anything from those days. I did enjoy the lamb chops, which I don't. When I went to Chicago, I said to Rachel, "Oh, maybe we'll get a lamb chop to put on the grill." But no, it was very gamey. It looked good in the shop, but no, when I was a married woman, I go to Miller's Butcher on Devon, and it wasn't expensive. I got a few. There were a few lamb chops in the package, and the package was like less than $4 for a few lamb chops.
When was this?
When the children,
Like, what decade are we talking about?
what year?
Like, what decade even? Talking about the 1980s,
60,
1970s?
the 60s,
Uh-huh.
I think. No, and 70s,
Hmm.
60s and late 60s and
You said that
70s.
was Miller's?
Miller's, yeah.
Um, what was Shabbos like growing up?
Growing up, I don't remember too much about Shabbos as a little girl. Maybe one scene or so being at the dining room table, but I don't remember too much. More when we were on St. Louis and Lawrence. Yeah.
And so what was it like on St. Louis and Lawrence?
Well, as I said, we had on Shabbos Day we had cholent, and it was nice sitting around the table.
Your
Very
father
nice.
made Kiddush?
My father made kiddush, yeah.
Mhm. And
Standing up the whole time.
mhm. And would you who in your family would go to shul?
My mother and I always went to shul, not at the beginning. I think we went around 10:30. Um, but when was this? Sometime I remember going to shul with my mother to Anshe Shalom. I don't know what time that was, but maybe it was around then.
Hmm.
And
Do you
it
remember
was
there
very.
being a
My
lot of
mother sat next to her mother, my bubby, and maybe my aunt. So it was very nice. And I
It's
had
the whole family affair.
yeah, and I had a couple of friends there. Yeah.
Do you remember the chazan? Was it like not? It probably wasn't like a what
I
shul's like today.
remember, I'll tell you, I remember my friend's father was, he sat up there, Mr. Sanders. Um, he had a very appearance of somebody like a serious person, you know. He was like a vice president or something. He had some, I don't, and I remember the Rabbi Kaganoff was the rabbi of the show at that time. Ben Sion, Ben Kaganoff.
Hmm.
Yeah. I have a I
Did
have something by Kaganoff, a little.
did you ever have gefilte fish or ever have a carp in the
Yes,
bathtub?
yes, we had gefilte fish. That's how we started the meal. Not homemade, usually.
So there's no carp
Once in a
in your.
while, maybe my mother made gefilte fish. Probably my aunt made it every time, I think, and my bubby made challahs. Um, but we bought our challahs. I used to go to the bakery. 2 square challahs I used to get. My mother didn't like the twist ones because maybe they were better for sandwiches. 2 square challahs. I used to go to the bakery. Yeah, Diamond Bakery.
Which bakery?
It was called Diamond on, I don't know where it was when we lived on the west side or where. No, on Lawrence Avenue. Was that Diamond Bakery? You know, it's hard for me to remember. On
Hmm.
Sunday, I used to get lox and cream cheese. Yeah, the 35 cents worth of lox. That's not much lox. And we didn't call it cream cheese, we called it butter cheese. That's what my mother called it anyway. And I asked for the skin, the lox skin, because she's cutting it off the lox, and there's skin left there. So she gave me, that's free, the skin and the wings.
Wait, I'm sorry. When you would order the lox, you'd order the lox a specific way?
I ordered 35 cents worth of lox. And then I said, may I have the skin and because there's always a little lox left on the skin. It's nice,
Oh,
oily, it's good. Brought it home with, yeah, yeah. Take off we call them wings. I mean, they're fins, but the side things that they cut
the
off.
scales?
No, no, the little
The
fins
the
from
um the
the,
fins. Yeah.
yeah. So obviously we didn't put pieces of lox, a thing of lox on our sandwich. We put little broke it up and put it
Yeah.
on the, but very good. That's the way I like it.
And
And
that was Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, 3 Kaiser rolls and 3 onion rolls, I think I used to get by the bakery. It looks like I was the shopper on Sunday morning. I enjoyed that.
And those were also from
Yeah, that
Diamond Bakery.
bakery. I think Diamond Bakery, but I can't, trying to think which neighborhood, because Lauren, see, we lived in the same spot on the north side in the, we lived on St. Louis, either South St. Louis or North St. Louis, you know? One
Hmm.
was what by Lawrence Avenue and one by Roosevelt Road. So very hard to remember, everything gets jumbled up.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite Yuntif as a child?
A favorite yuntif. Well, of course, on Purim, the little girls went to show with a flag with an apple on top, and I think we got a Hershey bar or something too. So I remember that, of course.
I'm sorry, there was an apple on the top of your flag?
Yeah,
Okay,
on the
I don't know
stick,
from such a thing.
on the stick, they put an apple on top. I guess it's safer that way. I think there was an apple stuck on top. That's what I think.
Uh-huh. Okay, great. And so you went to Shul on Purim. You would dress up, I imagine.
Did I dress up? My the best thing I remember was my sixth birthday party because my mother in the building on 614, where you saw the
Yeah.
stairs. So she had the kids sit outside. I mean, I guess there were a few from the building. So she made with crepe paper, she made bows. So for the girls, she put them in our hair, and for the boys, the same things, bow ties. It was very clever. That I remember that party. It was so nice. It was on the back porch. But that I thought that was so clever with the crepe paper.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really nice. Yeah.
Do you now you didn't have regular preparations that you did regular a lot of chores. But do you remember any preparations that you had that you any I guess any chores that you had to do for Shabbos or for Yontif?
Not really.
What
No.
about any did your family ever have any I guess unusual minhagim or family customs that you did for any holidays?
No, I don't, we didn't have too many. I mean, we didn't know all that much really,
No, but it could be just like, we always served something
except
or
Pesach,
like I don't remember who it was. Someone told me, I'm trying to remember which it was someone on your side of the family or on Naomi's father's side of the family that they would always sing at the Pesach Seder. They also did like the Star Spangled Banner or something to represent freedom or something. Like not just like an actual,
I don't remember that
through the
at all.
generations,
But
minhag,
my
just like
Uncle Dave came to our Seder. Yeah, my father always looked so tall and, the man of the house. My Uncle Dave, as soon as he came in, my father looked small and it was so interesting. He was a much, yeah. He didn't have a happy life though. Hmm.
Dave didn't.
Uncle Dave, no, he was divorced and he really didn't remarry, although he went with some, but I think he was afraid to get married again. And
Hmm.
it was, and there were a lot of sad things, because mm, I don't
Yeah.
know the reason for all the sad things, but there were a lot.
Yeah. So who are your closest friends growing up?
So Cookie, Rose, Rosc, Atias now, and she lives in Harnof.
Wait,
Uh,
wait,
she,
give me their full names.
well, her legal name was Marcia, but I never knew that. So just put Cookie.
But Cookie's last
And
name.
her last name was Rose, Rose.
Oh, that you're talking about the same person, Cookie
Yeah, yeah,
Rose.
yes,
And she later became Matthias.
yes,
But her legal first name was Marcia, but she went by Cookie.
yeah.
Got it. I understand. Okay. All right. Who else?
And Janice Simon, who married somebody from the next class up. Janice Robin.
Mm-hmm. And who
Now,
else?
my friend Alice was not really my good friend then because she's a couple of years younger than I am. See, a lot of people skipped in school, so she ended up being a very good friend of mine in high school, but before, so Janice, no, Janice, Alice,
Alice. Alice.
Alice, I have to think, Alice, Alice, what was her maiden name? Which I know very well. Her married name is Aronson. She married a classmate, Michael Aronson. We used to call him Tex. He
Hmm.
was from Waco, Texas. Very nice person, very nice as a student. Nice boy.
And what did you
I,
what did you do together?
pardon?
What did you do together?
Well, we were in school together and on Shabbos together also. So
So they lived near you.
and I had a friend in high school, Sandra. Oh gosh, I can't. She lives in somewhere in Herzliya, but I can't get her on the phone. Her name now is Salinas. She married an Israeli person, but they lived in Chicago. They had a restaurant.
How do you spell Salinas?
S-A um, Linis, maybe.
Mm-hmm. So you
She was fixed up by a cousin Nachama,
oh,
Auntie Nachama. By the way, that's how she met her husband.
and did you stay friends with any of these people into adulthood?
I speak to Janice, um, and I speak to Alice. Um, I
Who was
spoke,
who was
yeah,
the funniest of the bunch?
maybe me.
All right, then who is the biggest troublemaker?
Maybe me also. I don't think we made much trouble. I did get into trouble a little bit with my friend Janita. May she rest in peace. She passed away this year. And yeah,
What
when she
happened?
went for, I think I told you, we went for a piano. She took a piano lesson. And how she got up there at the Roosevelt University. She went up a staircase and then she or took an elevator, got off on the floor, not where she, and then she maybe walked up some stairs. I don't remember, but it was not a direct thing to get to this office where she took her lesson. So I went with her once. It was downtown. So we went, and I said, why do you do that on the way? Why don't you just take this staircase straight down? So she says, well, that's what I was told to do. I says, well, let's go down this way. Well, we went down, and at the bottom floor there, the street level floor, there's a door. We opened the door, and out there we see another door that goes to the outside. There's glass there, like opaque glass. So we want to try the door. But in the meantime, the door that we just left locked. And this other door is locked to the outside. So we're trapped. So I didn't have a choice. I had to break the glass and call to a passerby. So I was a troublemaker, in other words.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah, look at that. I
Mm.
get ideas, you know. Yeah,
Wow. That
yeah.
it's got to be pretty late at this
Oh,
point.
yeah,
What is it, like
yeah.
10:30? What time is it for you?
And we were talking about candy and meals, but I
Yeah.
didn't have any. Neither one. No meal, no candy.
Well,
What time is it?
it
Yesterday I
is.
went to bed at 1 in the morning.
Oh boy. Now it's 10:30 or 9:30 maybe? 9:30 for you?
I have a watch that is somewhere along the line, my beautiful gold watch, which I love. I used to only wear it for Shabbos, but I said, oh, why not wear it? Beautiful watch. But some more, maybe when they fix may I did lose the stem,
Mm-hmm.
and
Um,
I had it replaced, but maybe the hour hand got off a little bit. So sometimes I can't, it's hard for me to tell the time because it looks more, well, no, it's 9:35, I guess.
mm-hmm.
And
Um,
that clock, I just put I never used it because it reflects my light, and there's glass I can't see, and it has a background with a wine glass and a bottle. I can't see the numbers are huge. That's good, but it's hard to tell the time. I can't see it. My other clock sort of gave out.
um,
So I
do,
took the L and put it there. Anyway,
do you
so
have do you have
are you?
anything? I know you're not a big saver, but do you have anything that you'd call an heirloom? Anything that belonged to your parents or later? You know,
Well,
even a
anything I have
sitter or anything?
of my father's family. Do I have anything? I couldn't bring too much here, and I lost my pictures. You know, at the time when you had your tragedy, I was in America,
Yeah.
and and I don't know, maybe I don't know if I was a little mixed up or whatever. Shelley handed me the pictures that from my parents' house that were my, you know, where I was in my graduation and stuff. And I put it, I had some things from my music, from my violin things, and and I thought I'm taking it with me. That I put it, never saw it again.
Mm-hmm. So you
Yeah.
don't have anything that belonged to either of your parents or grandparents.
No, I don't think they didn't talk about heirlooms themselves. So I don't, it wasn't
Well,
a
I mean,
big
I'm not talking about things that have financial. It could be a spoon, it could be a thimble, it could be, like a besamim, like just things that happen to belong to them.
well, I did it didn't come to, Shelley gave me a Seder from the plates we used at the Seder, but
Mm-hmm.
it stayed in New York. I never got brought it here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it was hard to, I don't know. Maybe I have something here. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I
Yeah. Just well, I feel like I've taken up more than my fair share of your time.
wasn't
Like,
it wasn't it great? Oh,
this was amazing.
I really appreciate that you did that, Todd. I have the best married ins. You know, I enjoy every one of you. I feel so blessed. It's so wonder. How does
Well,
somebody get somebody like you that takes
we
them
are the
on
ones that are
a
blessed. And
trip and
I am appreciative to you every day for the amazing daughter that you raised. And so thank you very much.
she's a sweetheart. She's very lovely. Um, I feel bad for you guys, all the time that, with your loss and
Yeah.
it
Thank you.
stays with you all the time and but
Well,
uh but you're
I
great.
I have to get on another meeting that's starting in a couple minutes.
Oh,
So
okay.
I have to digest all this and maybe we can follow up again.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we did our share tonight.
This was the last couple days, last few days were like a deep dive.
It was great. Thank you.
And
May
by the
you
way, the
be
deep dive
blessed.
was that was an intended pun on the swimming. So a deep dive.
May you be blessed with
I
everything you do, and
I try.
a great parnasa to you too. That's
Amazing.
yeah.
Amen. Amen.
Enjoy your meeting. Bye.
Bye bye.